Hello there, this is Lynda Hill and I'm reporting from Australia. I thought I would talk about the Super Galactic Center and what is going on with that because it's pretty amazing stuff. Now I've talked about it in a few videos and audios and things, but I think it really deserves its own story, especially seeing we have the Moon's North Node going over the Super Galactic Center for half of this year. Now what does that mean? Well, I guess we're making it up as we go along, but the Super Galactic Center is a powerhouse of energy that extends from about the 28th degree of Virgo through to the 6th degree of Libra. And it's got quite a big orb because it is the Super Galactic Center, and it is said to connect in with the mind of God. Whatever that means for us is what it means for us, you know. So it's very much said to be about where we connect in with the Godhead, with the law of attraction and all those sort of things. So it's a very interesting journey, and it's one we started really in June, as I said. So I've got my ephemeris here, and yeah, this seems to be yes. I'm just looking. I think I did something up on here. Yes, I did. This is probably easier. I've got it up on the screen. So yeah, so what a ride. The Sabian symbols for the Super Galactic Center are extraordinary and mind-boggling, and I'll try to do them out of my head, but I just might get my book. It's been an interesting time. Concentrating. What have I got today? Mercury conjuncting my Mars, that's right. Oh, well. So, interesting in that there's a lot that runs through one's mind, and one's mouth sometimes gets ahead of all of that. So, yes. So the beginning of the Super Galactic Center I have seen for some time. I've been looking at the Super Galactic Center for several years, and have found it to be an interesting placement. If I see people with their Sabian symbols, with their planets in the Super Galactic Center, I know there's something really special going on with that person. I mean, there's something special going on with every single person on the entire planet. It's not about more special or this or what, but it's just that this is such a concentration of energy that you know that this person's going to be really connected in with an ascension in consciousness and pure teachings that come through either through them or to them, and you know, and a real realization of how to connect in with the Godhead. It's an extraordinary thing, as I've already said. So yeah, so I'm just going to go through the Sabian symbols in a direct fashion. Now, I realized years ago, I remember exactly where I was driving, and it just went clunk into my head that the Moon's North Node teaches us the zodiac backwards, and this is really something, you know. I mean, all planets go retrograde, and they teach us something about the zodiac backwards. But it's really the nodes in the course of 19 years. They go right around the 360 degrees, mostly in retrograde motion. So yes, so the nodes are really teaching us about the Super Galactic Center in a retrograde manner. It's not retrograde. I mean, it's, you know, that's just a term. It's actually teaching us in a very sort of, it's like a destined thing. You know, the Moon's North Node and the South Node, both of those poles are like very much about learning about our destiny and where we're meant to go in life, and it can be very much about karmic relationships. Now, I want to say that every single planet in your chart can really chart karmic relationships, so it's not peculiar or only in the North Node that this comes about. But you know, it's going to be a really big thing that's got to do with, you know, really anchoring a sense of who you are in terms of relationships on the planet. You know, like you get anchored through the nodes in your reality, and it really does affect relationships a great deal. So when so this is the Super Galactic Center in the Sabian symbols. There were no dates associated with what I'm saying at this point in time. Although I can say that, you know, it's about it's about it's about September 22nd. Yeah, my brain just went off on a fuse, you know, sometimes my left brain gets left out. It's about September 22nd each year that the sun starts to go over the Super Galactic Center, so it's very much about that. I'll come back to that. But, yeah, so the beginning of the Super Galactic Center I see as being, you know, in terms of prograde motion, forward motion, is Virgo 29. And the Sabian symbol is a man is gaining secret knowledge from an ancient scroll he is reading. And this is one of my favourite degrees. Well, I have a lot of favourite degrees, so I have others that are probably less so, but all degrees are good. All degrees contain all shades of white all the way to black and all grey in between. I mean, there's all sorts of things that can come from a degree, and they don't always act in the most positive manner, and they don't always act in the most negative manner, as the words may sometimes portray. Anyway, a man is gaining secret knowledge from an ancient scroll he is reading. It's very much about, and it's interesting because I almost never read from my book when I do an audio or a video, and so I've just realised that I've got, it's almost like the ancient scroll can be the Sabian symbols, absolutely. And I have some amazing stories about this degree, Virgo 29. It's a really great one. A man is gaining secret knowledge from an ancient scroll he is reading, and it's learning from ancient mysteries. I'm going to read out of my keywords from my book. Looking for answers, study and its rewards, reading between the lines, finding clues from the past and applying them to the present. Oh, that's Venus retrograde as well. That's what's been going on with that. It's very interesting. Being privileged to look into something special, alchemy, the Bible, the Torah and the Quran. Manuscripts, scrolls, ancient writings, Akashic records, very much, with the Super Galactic Center activity that's going on, classified documents, secret papers and scribes. So that's when, when the Sun or Venus or Mars or anything going in a direct motion go over these degrees. It's where it starts, is Virgo 29 with the Super Galactic Center. Now, the next degree on is Virgo 30, and it's having an urgent task to complete. A man doesn't look to any distractions. And I was thinking about that word today, distractions. It's almost like, we've lost our traction. I've never thought about that before, but, the word stood out when I was driving along earlier today. And it's, yes, we've lost our traction when we're having distraction. And so, and of course, sometimes the distractions are what we really need in life, so I'm into distractions. But sometimes, it's like, sometimes the distractions with the losing of the traction can really lead us into a place where we just later on feel overburdened and, have too much to do. But having an urgent task to complete, a man doesn't look to any distractions, can be really fabulous because we can get a real grip on what it is that we want to achieve or where we want to go or what we want in life. And we can really be one-pointed with this degree. Now, Libra 1, so now we've gone into Libra. Libra 1 is a butterfly preserved and shot with a dart through it. Now, this is a really interesting degree. It can really talk about being stuck in a place and feeling like you can't move, or it can be that you have sacrificed a lot of your life for things that don't really fit into your true nature, or it can be where you feel that people don't take you seriously, or it can be where, you've got something that you're really concentrating on doing and it's almost like you've been, that dart's gone through you and really, stuck you to a place. And that can be a very karmic thing in terms of, everything's karmic, in terms of, destiny, it can be about that. It can be like, take a moment, put that, allow that dart to go through our heart, our center. I wouldn't think heart so much because we don't want to do that unless it's Cupid's arrow. That helps. That's great. But, the butterfly preserved and made perfect with a dart through it can be where we feel like we just can't move, we can't get away, we can't do the thing. So, we've got to make sure that when we are stuck in a situation or there or meant to pause, that it can be very good for us. It can be a moment of attunement with the things that have previously been learned, because it's been the archaic, manuscript that's brought through all this knowledge, of Virgo 29, and then, learning all these things or taking all these things or having a real commitment to what one needs to do rather than being distracted. And then, so we can take that moment. But then, you see, the second degree of Libra is the light of the sixth race transmuted to the seventh. And this is when we and the whole world and the whole thing can take a real leap forward in our understanding. It's an ascension in consciousness. It's like saying to ourselves, I'm not doing it that way anymore. I might have been stuck in that situation, and now it's time for me to, grow my wings and fly and, have my individuality and my freedom to be who I want to be. And so the light of the sixth ray is transmitted to the seventh is where we go, oh, okay, now I'm ready for new beginnings. And also we surround ourselves with people who support us in our new beginnings or our new realizations or, and if we find that that's not working for us, this is Libra, and the beginning of Libra, sometimes what comes up with that is we realize that we have people around us who don't support us in our efforts or aren't useful for us. I use the us in the vernacular, but, it's like the general sense of it is that we have to surround ourselves with people with like-minded ideas. Now, of course, sometimes we can, live with someone and they might not, be into the same things that we are, and that can be fine. But as long as you have people that surround you who, support you in those efforts or want to see you succeed or, that you want to succeed and it's all this lovely, yummy Libran giving to each other sort of stuff, which is really wonderful. So then we get to Libra 3, you see, and it's the dawn of a new day reveals everything changed. So, it can be where we just take that leap forward and go, okay, here we are, and, wow, how things can change, how things can change in a year, in a month, in a day, in an hour, or in a moment. And, and the moment, is so much about this light of the sixth rays transmitted to the seventh. It can be where we really do find ourselves in the moment, and that can really change how we see ourselves and our future and the people around us and all that sort of stuff. So the dawn of a new day reveals everything changed. Yeah, Seneca has a nice quote here. I'm just reading from my book. It's one should count each day a separate life. And it's true. And then there's another one, things do not change, we change. That was Thoreau. So, that's, there is nothing in this world constant but inconstancy, and that's Jonathan Swift. But, this story, of having to have people around us who support us in our efforts, and sometimes what that feels like is, it can be Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever. It can be social media that brings that to us. It can be, having an internet connection. So Libra 4 is a group of young people who sit in spiritual communion around a campfire, and that's a wonderful degree, obviously. It's like, there's a spiritual communion, there's people together, there's a sense of youth there, there's a sense of vitality. There can be a feeling that sometimes we're in the wilderness. That can come with that. And, and if we do feel like we're in the wilderness when this degree is around, it really can help to tune into those people that, light our fire, that provide that warmth and that inspiriting that can be the fire that we gather around. There's such interesting degrees, and then, you can look out at the squares and the oppositions to these degrees, and they tell a whole story, the whole thing, it's interesting having all 360 in my head because my brain just goes off on all these tangents with, the interrelationships of the Sabian symbols are mind-boggling, and the stories that they tell, anyway, I keep going to do this. It's interesting here because I can't see myself and I don't know if I've got the mug in front of my face or what, I've got an ephemeris up on the screen that I will peer at. Anyway, so the group of young people sit in spiritual communion around a campfire is Libra 4, and then we go to Libra 5. This is still the Super Galactic Center. It's the span, it's the orb of the Super Galactic Center. And so Libra 5 is a man teaching the true inner knowledge of the new world to his students. I mean, if this isn't exciting after all these other, Sabian symbols, which, are extraordinary about, a rising consciousness and learning stuff and being with people who really support you in your efforts, which I've said about 5 times, but it's very true with this. It's Libra, and it's a supercharged area of Libra, this beginning of Libra, coming out of Virgo and into Libra, it's from doing our work and looking after our health and, being whole and, the Virgo. Then, coming into Libra and all the things that holds. Libra isn't all sweetness and light, I have to say. Some of the degrees in the middle of Libra are pretty gnarly and they're rather hard to traverse. Sorry about the hair. It's flickering. Static. So, yeah, so Libra 6 comes after, I'm going to say that again. Libra 5 is a man teaching the true inner knowledge of the new world to his students. Now, I always say this, it's good to say it. I always say it in my readings, don't worry about the gender bias of the Sabian symbols because they're almost all about a man, or a group of, it's generally seen as being a rather male, but there are females in here. There's women and there's girls, in the Sabian symbols. And I always think that when I see it's a woman or a girl in the Sabian symbol, that it's more of a leaning to the feminine with that idea. It's just, works just as well in men's charts, of course, but there's a leaning towards the feminine with that idea when there's a woman or a girl in the Sabian symbol. So, a man teaching the true inner knowledge of the new world to his students. And then, the big kahuna, and this blows my mind, is, I shouldn't use that expression, but anyway, Libra 6 is a man watches his ideals taking a concrete form before his inner vision. So that's amazing. And you could even go to the next degree. You could keep reading them because they're just all mind-boggling, of course. But, we do have, a bit of a, we've got a bit of a thing with the span of the Super Galactic Center. Libra 7 is a woman feeding chickens and protecting them from the hawks. That's looking after youngsters or looking after yourself and making sure that there's not negative influences around you and all that sort of thing. Anyway, so that's a bit of a timeline. No, that's a bit of a exposition in both of those words into the Super Galactic Center. So when this really all started, I'd say the North Node going over the Super Galactic Center, it really started in June, around June 21st, which is, pretty amazing. That's totally amazing. And yes, I did something on my site. I've got something on my site about the equinox and yes, all of that. Anyway, so, sorry, my brain was just trying to remember where I'd put it, but it's on my site, I think. So, anyway, right around that time, we had the Moon's North Node on the man watches his ideals taking a concrete form before his inner vision. You see, this whole thing is very much about the law of attraction. That's how I see it. I really do see it as that. And I also see the Galactic Center of Sagittarius as being equally as amazing. Although the Super Galactic Center has this supercharged thing, I feel, and particularly as it's like right in the middle of the zodiac. So it's got, there's just something happening here that, it centers right around that first degree of Libra. So, yes. So there we were. It was, the 21st, this year, the Moon's North Node started traversing over the Super Galactic Center, which will last until like the end of the first week in December. We're talking about really an amazing span of time that's giving us the opportunity to understand and to grok these symbols and get them into our lives. And, whether we've got it in our chart or not. I mean, people might not have these Libra degrees in their chart, but they might have something exactly opposite, or a square. It's going to be affecting you. And it's affecting you because it's affecting the whole planet. And so it's very interesting to think about what these degrees are about. I mean, you could even take all of these degrees and look at the Syrian, refugee crisis. Works. The dawn of a new day revealing everything changed. Wow. And the butterfly shot through with a dart, the whole thing. It's just wow. And the group of people, they're in spiritual communion. It's been an interesting ride. Anyway, so I'm just going to give some dates here. I'm squinting because that's how it goes. It's from June 21 until July 2. We had the Moon's North Node on the man teaching the true inner knowledge. No, what was it? No, we had a man watches his ideals taking a concrete form before his inner vision. And then from July 3 through to July 15, you can go back, listen to this again or take notes or something, but it's a man teaching the true inner knowledge of the new world to his students. This is what was happening in July. And then we have from July 15 until July 26, we had Libra 4, a group of young people sitting in spiritual communion around a campfire. But I have to come back, yes. I'm coming back to the fact that we had really quite a hit of a man teaching the true inner knowledge of the new world to his students in July. It was really quite strong. It went direct on that, and retrograde, and it was, so it was very strong. So then we have, where were we up to? Oh, it doesn't matter. I went up to July 27 until, that's right, July 27 until, this is a bit irritating doing it this way, but anyway, August 11, we have the dawn of a new day that reveals everything changed. So what happened to you? Like what was happening around the world as well, but at the end of July and into August, yes, up to about the 10th of August, it was the dawn of a new day reveals everything changed. And there can be, so many things that run through our head that we just want to drop them. We don't want to know about it. It's, it's too big. It's too involved. It's too exciting. We wake up in the morning and go, wow, this is new realization. I'm really enjoying it. It can be really quite something. And so, and then from August 11, this is ballpark figure. Don't worry about being exact. It's not important that we're exact. My computer is having conditions. Yes, here's the big kahuna. I find this amazing. From August 11, ballpark figure, August 11, right through, until September 11, yes, that's a whole month on this 1 degree. And so the node has just been really sitting on this degree, and it's Libra 2, it's the light of the 6th rays transmuted to the 7th. And so this, speaks about this ascension in consciousness that so many people have spoken about for so many, I don't know, so many years, but yes, people for the last few years, and I've seen much of this, have been talking about September of 2015 and the enormous shift that we're meant to be going through. Now, when I hear these things, there's a skeptical part of me that's, it's about a mile wide. I tend to go, yeah, okay, we've heard about all this sort of stuff before, and is this really going to be, is this true? Is this what's really happening? And when I, saw the Super Galactic Center stuff with, the node, it was like, oh my God, especially September. The light of the 6th rays transmitted to the 7th for a whole month from August through. So, from, the second week of August right through until the end of the second week in September. So this is a huge rev up of, yes, are we taking notice? Are we, really taking notice of that movement? And then, and then of course, it's very interesting to note that the butterfly shot through with the dart starts on September 11. Yes, September 11. The butterfly shot through with a dart. It's Libra 1. So the Moon's North Node on September 11, it's come through all those Sabian symbols I've been talking about are back to Libra 1, which is the butterfly preserved and made perfect with a dart through it. So I'll just read out that again. It's basically September 11 until September 19. During this time, we might feel like, we've been shot through with a dart. We might have so many realizations that we feel like we're, a bit like this. It's a really interesting thing. I mean, I feel to say it, I'm going to say it. A few months ago, my father died, and it didn't have an enormous emotional effect on me. Normally it would, but I've got my nervous system under control, and somehow or another I was just like, okay. And it was great. And I think it's this part of this, dropping into oneself and understanding all that. Anyway, my point is that for about 3 weeks after that, I was in an altered state in terms of feeling a little bit like that Libra 1, that, butterfly shot through with a dart, sort of like, it's good though, because we take notice of those moments and we go, not sure whether I really want to be here or be doing this or be in this situation or any of those sort of things. So, where are we? So then about September 20, yes, until October 1. This is ballpark. It doesn't matter if it's a day or two before or after. And besides which, these Sabian symbols don't just stop working because the North Node's moved off it. It's like giving us a huge injection of this idea. And we have events that happen along the way. You might meet someone. You might win the lottery. You might, get the job you want. You might move house. You might buy a house. any of those things, when the North Node's on particular degrees, and that's going to affect you when you take that into the future. I mean, you can just have just our everyday life. These symbols are going into us, and they don't just stop because we move off it. It's just that they become more highlighted when it moves on to that next degree. Obvious, it's broadcasting, from that degree. So it's really interesting because the Moon's North Node gets right back. How far back does it get? My goodness me. It gets right back to, it goes direct there, but only for a few days. It goes retrograde and direct. It's really sitting on, the Moon's North Node is really sitting on that butterfly shot through with a dart, for a couple of weeks. And then October 12, no, it's earlier than that, sorry. October 9, this is a clumsy way of doing that, till October 14, we're back on the light of the 6th rays transmitted to the 7th. So it's almost like, so for that week, October 9 to about October 14, we get another look at that ascension in consciousness. We get another look at that 6th race transmitted to the 7th. We can see it around us. We can see it in people saying, I'm feeling really good. I've had a lot of this feedback recently where people have been saying, well, my life hasn't changed terribly much, but I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really positive and really alive and really good. And I'm hearing that a lot, which is good because there's a lot of grief going on. There's difficulties going on around the world. It's just some huge stuff going on. And, but we have to feel all right, don't we? I mean, we're privileged to feel all right. So we have that week, it's almost a week in there, from about October 9 till about October 14, where we're, the light of the 6th ray transmitted to the 7th, and then the node goes retrograde again. And it goes back over the butterfly shot through with the darts from October 15 until, oh gosh, it's going to be on there for ages and ages. I haven't stopped to really take this in terms of that. October 15 to November 12, it's back again, the butterfly shot through with the darts. So this period is, again, it could be a period of waiting. It could be a period of where you've made all these realizations, you want to make all these changes in your life, and a lot of things have been happening, synchronicities, really weird shit, excuse my language, really amazing stuff coming through, but it might not be quite the time to make the changes. Well, anyway, changes, even though there can be the dawn of a new day revealing everything changed, and that is there, sometimes actually to institute the changes can take some time. So I have a feeling that that's what the butterfly shot through with the dart of the 1st degree of Libra is about. Now, when we come to November 12, the Moon's North Node goes back into Virgo. And so, now it's in Virgo. So it's finished with Libra, more or less. Well, yes, as I go back, I don't think it goes back. I think that's it. Yeah. It's now in Virgo. From then on. So, that's November 12, November 13. It's on the last degree of Virgo. And so it's from November 12, through to, where does it go back to? It goes back to November 25. I never organise these things. I just go, I'm going to make a video or make an audio. I just start, that's why I call it a rave, which sometimes turns into a rant. But anyway, so I'll repeat those dates because it's November 12 or 13. It's right through to, well, at least it is, to November 25. We're on having an urgent task to complete. A man doesn't look to any distractions. And, a lot of the world is thinking about Christmas coming up and New Year at that time as well, which can be interesting. And people start to freak out they haven't started doing their Christmas shopping. But I don't think it's really about that. I think, for the vast majority of us, it's like, wow, I got some things I have to institute, I have to make some changes, or I have to allow myself to do these things, or, liberate myself from, the dart that's holding you in place. Whether it's a memory or a person or a circumstance or a job or a house, or if something's holding you like a dart to a situation where you don't want to be, I mean, what's that about? We all know what's that about, and we all do it. It's like, well, I can't talk for everybody. Almost. Human nature. I had an interesting, see if I can tell this story properly. I haven't told it for a while. I had an interesting experience where I woke up one day, it was in the 90s, and I woke up one morning and I had JFK on my mind. And I woke up thinking about his assassination. and I was getting Libra 1. This is obviously, this is 20 years ago. Anyway, so I'm thinking Libra 1, the butterfly shot through with a dart. And I remember I got up and I went into my computer and I turned on my Solar Fire, the best astrology software, and I'm looking at JFK's chart. And I'm looking at the chart of the assassination, and I can't remember what I found on that, because that wasn't part of the story. I just went, oh, okay, all right. I don't know whether I found much. I think there was something there, but nothing enough for me to significantly remember in this moment. The story is, though, I went inside, and we get the Sydney, what we did in those days, Sydney Morning Herald newspaper, and literally in a newspaper, not on the screen like we have it now. And anyway, so I'm looking through it. My favourite page is the letters page, and I come to the letters page, and there is a cartoon, and it's just a line drawing cartoon, and it's a butterfly, and it's flying through the air, and a big bullet, this bullet's got to smash that butterfly, is heading straight towards the butterfly, and all it said at the bottom was Lepidoptera, which is a butterfly. Dallas, 1961 or 62. Was it 60? No, it was 63. I was 10 years old, that's right. It was the day after my 10th birthday. Oh, now I'm giving away my data. Anyway, if you wanted it, you'd find it because it's all over the net. But anyways, or not all over it, it's enough. But, so the urgent task to complete, it's like we've made these realizations of, have we been, it's interesting that word, I don't want to use that word, but it's like an assassination when we keep our lives, so pinned to a, thing, and there can be sacrifice from that, because the butterfly has been caught in the prime of its life, and of course it's dead now, and it's had its short span of life, and it's stuck to a board, and the wings can be incredibly beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. But, for the butterfly, it can be the ultimate sacrifice of having to be stuck there, and not moving. Anyway, I guess you get my point. So, where are you doing that? Where are any of us doing that? So November 25, the Moon's North Node goes back onto a man is gaining secret knowledge from an ancient scroll he is reading. So a man gaining secret knowledge from an ancient scroll he is reading, and that goes from November 26 until December 7. Things learnt, things really taken on, and it can be like from your past history. The ancient scroll we're reading can be where we go, oh, I always do that, or I've always done that, or my parents were like that, or when we look back at the story and the unfolding of our lives, sometimes that's what the ancient scroll can be. It's the records of the past, the Akashic records of the past, or whatever. Oh, there's the phone, Reg. Anyway. That's interesting. Usually it rings with some significant moment. I'll let it ring out. I have a saying that when the phone rings, it's usually a significant moment. But anyway, I should have turned that off. So that's basically when, up until that end of that first week of December, that's when we're traversing the Super Galactic Center. So, we're set for the rest of the amazing journey of this year. Now, but what's also been happening has been Venus has been retrograde. So, Venus is going direct now, and we're getting the gist of that. I'll do a separate video so all of my videos don't become legendarily long. It's like people go, I haven't got an hour. So I'll do something on Venus retrograde because there's plenty to be said. And what else to say? Well, I guess I've said it. Well, I don't know. There's always more to say, and that's one of my sayings. There is always more to say. And, Venus and Mars are in Leo at the moment. This is really a moment where we're, and Venus is going direct. It's been retrograde in Leo, so it's very much about the individual. It's about your heart. It's about your soul. It's about what turns you on. It's about, your hobbies, what you want to do for a living in terms of your avocation. Not just about making money, but, being who you are. And that's the Leo thing. The Leo thing of Venus retrograde is sort of like, where are we in the story? What stories do we tell? What stories do we want to tell? You know, what is the play of our life? You know, how can we put that thing together? So it represents our solar center, who we truly are. And it's just so amazing having Venus going retrograde in Leo and meeting up with Mars there. I mean, 5th house, romance, love, joy, fun, meeting together with others, going out, you know, going within, finding your artistic talent. You know, it's about children. It's about, you know, it's all those yummy, yummy things, Leo, you know. And so putting ourselves at the heart of our experience is what this period is about, this Super Galactic Center journey that we're going through. So, yes, I don't think, well, there's more. There's more to say. There always is. And I will make more. I will. And why I'm going, is because I'm going, oh, okay, I have to probably get better organised, but it doesn't matter. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it's not too distracting with me trying to figure it out as I go along. Bye.